Hi, I'm Reid, editor of the Edison Report, and we are here talking to Lawrence Lin, the CEO of Strong LED. Lawrence, welcome.
Hi, Randy. Long time no see. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing well, and thank you for joining us. And we had hoped to see you at LightFair, but we understand there was an issue.
Yeah, I do have some issues, so unfortunately I cannot be there in person, but it would be great to talk to you virtually. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we understand there was an issue with your visa and that they're hard to get these days. So we're happy to speak to you today. So tell our audience a little bit about the company Strong LED.
Okay, great. Strong LED actually was being founded for more than 20 years and very dedicated in the last 20 years for the outdoor lighting. And actually, they are the first tier outdoor lighting leading company in the Greater China, and based in Taiwan is a Taiwan-listed company. But now the Strong LED Smart Lighting is actually the new company, which I founded together with the Strong LED in 2020, which we want to really get into the interior smart lighting and dedicated on the human-centric lighting system.
Okay, you've been doing an awful lot of investing in the lighting science part of our industry. Tell our audience a little bit about these investments and what you've learned.
I think after 2002, because of the IPRGC was officially being disclosed, then I think really they're breaking a new ground for the new pocket for the lighting industry to grow, and especially the Nobel Prize went to three doctors about the circadian rhythm, really inspire us. And I think this is a great timing because now we have the solid state lighting, which can really perform very, very well on the full spectrum, and the controllable spectrum, and the dimmable, and the mixing the different spectrum, which can really, I would say really 100% or more than 100% to be the best alternative of the natural light. So I think this is the best timing for us to really, first of all, have a good understanding about the human-centric lighting, and also we have the best vehicles, the tools to really enable us to make everything happen.
Okay, when you talk about tools, I understand you're working with AI, IoT, and cloud computing. How do all three of those interact?
So I think that we know about the AI. Everything about AI needs to base on the big data and the quality big data. And what we have to do is really build up everything about the algorithm from the data. This the experiment. It's a scientific experiment. We did a lot of experiments, and under the IRB review for the the circadian rhythms impact, the models, and also the functional MRI, how the light can affect the brain wave and bring us to from these emotions to another emotions. And I think it's really impressive because of the latest technology, and all of this evidence can really build up the foundation, and like you say, to put together the AI, the IoT, and also the cloud-based to really reshape the whole industry to the different, to really make us to understand how we can make the light to the next levels.
Okay, and when you talk about making the light to the next level, are you speaking about lighting an entire building with human-centric lighting, or are you talking about individual lighting?
I think that from the full pictures, the whole system, and also from the end user's perspective, also it could be very, very individuals. So I think the future of the lighting system will be based on three pillars. One is the hardware. We call it the device, including the lighting fixtures, the lamps, the control systems, and also including the sensors, all of the hardware, the devices. And beyond that, I think we will have another very important is the content. So we need to consider, people when they live in the different spaces, in the different timing, when they're doing the different activities, actually they need a very different lighting sense to satisfy whatever their visual inquiry or even the psychological or the biological inquiries. So we need a different content, or we can call it the lighting recipes for the different purposes. And also to run these devices and run this content, we need to have an operating system, to have a platform to really operate it. Because I think that, our houses, our buildings, actually now we are living in the interior environment in our lifetime for more than 87% our lifetime, all in the interiors. And I think most of the lighting source coming from the artificial lighting. So we need to consider about the full pictures of the building and the space. But also we need to consider for the individuals needing. We do need different contents and the different lighting devices to really run all of these contents, these lighting recipes. So I would say we need to consider about it. All of the IoT stuff, like a mobile phone, like a TVs, they are all go to smart and go to cloud. And the device, they are running the different contents based on our needs. And the needs actually is very, very individual, including the different perspectives.
I think a lot about people that work at night, because they seem to have the most issues with their circadian rhythm, the night shift workers. How does your system help night shift workers?
That's great, great approach. I think since the WHO also already announced that the night shift itself actually is a AA level risk for the cancer. That's the main reason is because of the circadian rhythm distortion, the damage on the circadian rhythm. And we need to really build up the circadian rhythm fast resetting system especially for the night shift workers. They are living in our time zone, but actually they are most likely to live in another time zone. So we need to utilize the artificial lighting system to help them to fit into based on their individual living models, their real living models, their real circadian rhythms, to use the lighting recipes to consider if they are waking up in the 7 p.m. and we need to consider the 7 p.m. is their early morning, and the normal people, their cortisol, or maybe we can say that the cortisol really represent the day circadian, and then the cortisol have to be sufficient and the best value, like a normal people at the 10 a.m. in the morning. Then we need to consider maybe the 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. need to be their best value for the cortisol stuff. So they need to get enough CS, the circadian stimulus value, like more than 0.6 of the CS value. And if we say that in the real case, they would be like the EML, the equivalent melatonin lux have to be like 1,500 lux, and the CCT probably have to be greater than 5,000 K or even 5,700 K to really make them really feel like wow, their body really to be resetting, and the value of this stimulation have to be like greater than half an hour to really make it workable. So we need to use this.
So you brought up several points that I just find very exciting. So you mentioned CS, circadian stimulus, and the Light and Health Research Center basically calls for brighter days and darker nights.
Yep.
In essence, for night shift workers, you're flipping that, right? You are calling for darker days and brighter nights for the night shift workers, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then when you're talking about CS, it's really all at the eye level. That's what's important, is how much stimulus they get at the eye level. So tell our audience about what kind of fixtures you are producing that will get to that eye level for the circadian stimulus.
Okay, it's a very interesting issue. So you can see this. This is the lighting sensor we produce. This lighting sensor can detect the correlated color temperature, which is from the CCT level from 2,000 K to 10,000 K, and the lux level from the 0 to 30,000 lux for the normal lux. But for the EML, equivalent melatonin lux, it could detect from the 0 to 15,000 lux. And also, we can detect the frequency level, to detect the frequency, which I think is the, especially I think the EML value, and also the frequency is very important for the wellness. So you mentioned about how we build up all of this system. So actually the fixtures, we will default some some program, some lighting recipes. So all of our fixtures is a lighting recipes player, like a mobile phone, like a TVs, and for different space, for different users, actually only they need to do is just download the different lighting recipes and just build up like some playlist, just like a Spotify.
Okay, sure.
And yeah, do whatever it wants to do. So I think that, because the people's living model probably they will change. So we need to leave the flexibility to the end users.
So when you and I were speaking on another call, preparing for this call, you explained to me a little bit about kind of the research you've done with taking people's temperatures, with MRIs. Tell our audience a little bit about those studies.
If we're talking about a circadian rhythm, I think there's many issues we want to talk about the disorder or the problem, the trouble of the sleep. Yeah, the sleeping problem. So I think the central body temperature and the melatonin value and the cortisol value, I think is, and the sleeping cycle, sleeping model for the individual person is very, very highly connected to their circadian rhythm. So I think that if we find and identify their central body temperature model is really not really fitting to the regular or normal model, then it will allow us to identify, okay, their sleeping model, their circadian rhythm is really already in something like distortions. So we need to then give us the information give us the data that to identify where they are on their circadian phase shifting. And then we will put together the algorithm based on all of these experiments and put together like our AI, this and that, and we'll give them the advice, give them the solutions individually, lighting recipes for them to have doing the resetting for their circadian rhythm. And I think this is the real things. It's really why we need the circadian rhythm research. We need to really make their circadian rhythm back to the regular stuff. And this is about a circadian rhythm. And the functional MRI is about the emotions, because we understand that the light, I would say the non-visual impact through the IPRGC. The one hand side is very heavily impact on the circadian rhythm, and the other hand side is the impact on our emotions and our recognition of our brainwave. And we use the functional MRI and the brainwave testing machines like EEG to check if we give the different lighting recipes put together with the spectrum and the intensity of the light and the frequency, and also the timing and the duration. All of this combination lighting as a lighting recipes. If we give the different lighting recipes to the people, and then they will have a different feedback, like getting them feel more relaxation and or meditation situation, or more productive. So I think that's we trying to identify how light can make you feel and build up the model and find out a way to really guide you, manage the emotions, whatever you want. And especially I think the people have something like a depression, this and that, and we want to really help them to feel better. Mindfulness.
Well, it sounds like you're doing your own research. You are doing your own software. You are creating your own products. It sounds like you've got a very complete package. Are you working with the Wellbuilding Institute at all?
Yes, we do. So actually, we are the member of the IWBI, and we work very closely with the IWBI. We already started some program. Some of them is confidentially, so I cannot tell you the details. But I would say, I think they have a great vision to really build up all of the building to be more, have more wellness stuff. So I think that it's great that we can contribute on that, especially on the light division, because I think that now you can easily to get air condition, air monitoring system, or the watering quality monitoring system. But about the lighting environment monitoring system, I think it's still not existing in the market. So I think I think that's something that we are doing very, very closely with the IWBI, and we believe we can make it to be a well-work. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, Lawrence, thank you so much for joining us. We're sorry that you cannot be at LightFair in person, but I think this was a very good discussion.
Thank you, Randy. I'm looking forward to see you very soon in the near future. Thank you.